Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. This is episode 3 of our webinar series, and today we're going to look at how to attract, nurture and engage talent with our hosts Fraser Graham and Phil Sargent. Please ask any questions throughout using the Q&A panel, and we'll look to answer these as we go through the webinar. Finally, at the end, there will also be a QR code which you can scan to find out more information or to book a free demo, and also a quick survey for you to complete if you wouldn't mind. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll now pass it over to Fraser and Phil.
Thanks so much, Sandra. Hi, Phil. How you doing?
Hi, Fraser. Yeah, good. Great to see you again. Looking forward to interrogating you like last time.
Yeah, indeed. Me as well. And also really good point around interrogation is we want to take questions through this as well. So just echoing what Sandra's just discussed and let you know there, if you've got any questions as you go through, please ask them. Phil, I believe you've got the question panel open on your screen there, and we will take them as we go, which is the best way to do it, right? Let's have a bit of a conversation. So yeah. Today, we are going to cover attraction, nurturing and engagement of employees. And I see this as a cyclical thing. The one piece follows on to the other. Essentially, you land with engaged employees, then it's easier for you to attract new ones and so on and so forth, right? And what we're going to look at is how PeopleHR can support you with this in terms of the solutions that we offer. And today we're going to do some live demos, which is exciting for you and a bit scary for me. I hope everything works. So let's get going and have a look at the first piece, right? So attracting. My thoughts on attraction is essentially we're looking at finding someone to solve a problem. Would you say that's an accurate sort of reflection there, Phil, on what we're looking for when we're attracting?
Yeah, exactly. And it can sometimes sound, a bit dramatic when you're thinking about solving a problem, but that problem can be as much as, we need to grow, right? We need to support our customers more. I need a set of skills that I don't currently have. So, attraction is also about better establishing brands, right? And building culture and community.
Exactly. And culture and community is a key one, right? And I think off the back of the problems to solve, I started thinking about, right, okay, well, what does an organization, or what should an organization define before heading out to market to hire, or how do you want to present yourself? What's your employee value proposition? And I kind of came up with these four pieces here that you would want to establish and share. And in terms of how PeopleHR can help you with this, we can house this like your behavioral model, for example, your successes in terms of your reports, perhaps, and highlighting your benefits. In fact, let me bring in the live demo straight away and show you sort of the homepage, or the new homepage of PeopleHR, and where you might store, say, a handbook, your behavioral model, for example, that really lets employees know what you're about and what your culture is on the front page there. Do you think there's anything else, Phil, that it's important to sort of scope out and understand before you sort of go out to market on an attraction perspective?
I think it's also really important to be able to assess, what else is happening in the market, right? I think the first place that we always go is, inwardly. What's the problem I'm trying to solve? What type of candidate fits my profile or role that I'm looking to fill? Want to make sure that it is really clear about the expectations with that as well. But then you also want to make sure that you understand, is the type of role relevant? Is that type of role got good market parity? And I think combining the ability to set up the roles within the HR system effectively is also to get access to some good insights and analytics, maybe even across the organization around salary bandings and all those kind of demographic elements as well. So I'd be really interested to see kind of as we evolve what your thoughts are from the product development perspective, how we're looking to accommodate some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can definitely touch on some of that. And I think we covered a little bit in episode 2 as well, particularly around a key metric of time to hire, right? And how you might be able to track that using the analytics solutions. Ultimately, time to hire is about ensuring that you snap up the best candidates before anyone else does, right? And you're able to do that. And beautiful segue, right, into how can we help with that. And the two elements that I want to sort of focus on is how PeopleHR can make it easy and simple for candidates to apply to your roles, and also then how it's simple for you as hiring managers, as HR leaders in your business, to then follow up with candidates, ensure that you're able to promptly get back to them following applications. So without further ado, let's jump into our ATS. And let's have a little look around. So we've kind of got this dashboard where you've got a number of new applicants, number of applicants rejected, etc., etc. It gives you a nice overview. And then I'm going to jump into my list of vacancies. So you can see here, I've got a vacancy live for a social media executive for my company, Access F1. And this is a vacancy that I've made live, and essentially what you're able to do from this point, looking at your vacancies, is jump in and have a look then at all the details that were added when it was created. Now, I'm going to cover off a lot of this when I look at how we follow up with candidates, so don't worry, we're going to come back to this bit. First of all, I want to show you how it's easy for candidates to apply. Simply, every vacancy that you create in PeopleHR, we generate a link for you. We generate an externally facing site that you are then able to link to, and you are also able to share as well. So you have essentially a landing spot for anyone who wants to apply, read the job description, etc. Now, we also enable you to post the job description out to external job boards, such as Indeed, such as Glassdoor. And essentially that allows then individuals to find the job. We know that a lot of people looking for jobs, right? Where do they go first? Indeed, and it's successful, right? So we enable you to post out to that and bring people back to your environment here.
So, Fraser, so once you put the details in, the whole thing just sets it out in this way. So it's sort of perfectly categorized or segmented form. LinkedIn's a big one for me, right? That's where I'm posting a lot of the jobs that I look for. So that's really cool. And you might have mentioned this in the episode 2 where you're talking about automation of workflows, but is there an element of this which works in that sort of automated workflow piece as well, where you can sort of attach it to other managers or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll talk about it when we hit the follow-up with candidates. A lot of this is built into our ATS as standard in terms of automation and workflows, in terms of approval on the job vacancy, approval on accepting an offer. I'll cover that in a sec when we get there. But the point being, you don't need to use it would give you extra capability, but you don't need Ripple Workflows module in order to get some of the level of automation that you would expect with an ATS. So from here, I want to apply for this job straight away. And this is the next piece, is a application form that I have created bespoke for this job specifically, where the candidate is then straight to the application form. So let me just do that. The access,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, expect some pauses. So I've created this application form for applicants to apply for, and I've chosen the questions that I want to add here. So first of all, where the applicant heard about my job, so I can track that, again relating back to stats and data that we might want to collect, what their current salary is, why do they want to work at HASF1, and also some details of the social media platforms that they've experienced with, and also when they might be able to start. So just an example of the different fields: drop down, text, long form text, and date that we might want to add to the form. And there's more within that you can do. And then, oh my goodness, it wants me to fill it in. There you go.
I think it's really important to sort of mention at this point as well, you know, some of the systems I've seen out there have great capabilities in building job roles, but then fundamentally to go and coordinate across the business, get those signed off, get those approved, you know, tends to be like, I've got to pull a report, I've got to share that almost in an Excel format with relevant stakeholders. You know, I do like the way you can pull people together through this. And I think it's also important to consider sort of the background screening element as well.
Yeah.
And obviously now with Workspace, you can pull in, you know, the background check-in app and services in there as well, which just gives you that little bit of confidence that you're keeping everything together, because fundamentally I think a lot of background services tend to use external portals, etc. So it tends to get a bit fragmented quite quickly. And if you're hiring a lot, right, or if you're hiring regularly, especially for those in sort of seasonal type patterns, that can be a bit of a nightmare. But I do like the way PeopleHR within Workspace now allows you to keep all of that together.
Yeah, agree completely. So I'm not going to finish the form, but that's an example of where we can quickly bring a candidate through, give them the form immediately. We also offer video recruitment as well, so you can ask a candidate to complete and respond to a question via video as well, so you can get an idea for their personality as opposed to just a text form, which is really exciting. So moving on then to the next part of this, which is following up with candidates, and how can you make sure that you give candidates the swiftest response. And the first thing to show is the funnel. So it's worth noting at this point as well that as a hiring manager or a HR manager, you can define this funnel or your pipeline. You can essentially choose what elements you have. This is a standard item, but you can add a stage. For example, say you wanted to add a second interview to your process, and you wanted candidates to go through that. You can simply create the stage, and you can add that into the funnel in the order that you so wish, and naturally you can edit everything that you have there. I'll show you how to move someone through the funnel, but just whilst I'm in settings in the minute, I guess the piece that makes this really quick is your ability to create email templates. So for your hiring process, you are able to create templates that are surfaced to you within the ATS. That means you are able to quickly take a decision on what you want to do, have a consistent approach to the communications that you send to candidates, and also improve the speed that you can get these out. Now, what I want to point out here as well is within the emails, we have the option to add merge tags. So essentially, you can add the first name of the candidate, you can add your first name as the hiring manager, the person completing it. You can also add interview dates and times. So essentially, this is baked in and ready to go. So you can just go straight through and send the mail. Now, if I jump back to the pipeline, you can see I've got my candidate here. They are pending a decision, and I could see in the pipeline where they are now. I can email the applicant, and this is where then I get the option to select the template that I want to use. In this case, I'm going to use the offer letter, and you can see their name is populated. Some items we don't have, so salary, unfortunately, we don't have, and naturally you would probably want to add that in yourselves here. But essentially, this just is speed. You send it from the hiring email, and that goes. You are able to add attachments as well, a CV, or anything else that you want to attach there.
Nice. I think, you know, there's quite a bit in there. So just as a reminder, if anyone's got any questions about what they've seen so far, get it into the questions or into the chat. I'm more than happy to help. And I think, you know, what you're showing here, Fraser, is really important, right? Because candidate experience is critical, and part of that is speed, right? You know, if you're out there looking for roles, it's such a competitive market right now. You've got to be able to get people into the funnel in a great logical process, right? But also move them through as quickly as possible to get that offer out. So yeah, I love the way you can track all that and move it around as you need to with some templates as well.
Indeed, yeah, really makes it simple to hire large volumes of people if you're in that kind of environment with high turnover. Next, nurture. So what I want to have a look at here is how you can support in setting clear expectations, providing regular feedback, and then also recognizing reward and achievement with employees. So let's bring back in the demo, and let's have a look at how we can set clear expectations. So first of all, what I'm going to do is go and have a look at one of my employees. So we've got two performance offers, and they're both separate. One is a longer form appraisal based solution, which is what I'm going to show you here. And then we've also got employee performance, which I'll show you at the end. I'm just conscious of time. But what I want to show you first is essentially the longer form performance reviews, and then how we can link that to goals, and how we can link that to supporting the delivery of regular feedback. So AO, as an employee of my company, is in his review period, and you can see here that he has completed his review. He's been through. He's used this the appraisal solution to rate himself, to deliver answers, or to respond to or add detail to each of these questions. Now this form is and the segments within it are completely customizable. You can set that up within the settings, and we do also offer a standard form as well that you can choose to use as an organization as well. So AO's gone through, he's completed the appraisal. It's now on Gunther, his manager, to go through and start to complete this appraisal as well, right? So we're creating an environment, and Phil, I think this is really important, where the performance review isn't just a form-based thing, it's completed beforehand, and the review is then a conversation.
Yeah, it's vital, right? We've got to have participation from both parties, I think, in these processes, and not just make it a form filling exercise, because that loses the value of the actual performance review and any attached sort of objectives or progression thereafter. I think it's really great that we can show this up front and get this work done before you get into the conversation, so it can be just that, right? It's a
Exactly.
one-to-one type conversation. You know, regardless of the scenario, you want the employee to feel fully involved in their performance management. We're seeing that more and more and more, right? The days of just tracking it on a form are gone, right? Employees are calling out to have their voice heard, to feel a part of their own development and performance. So I really like how this comes together.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately we know that employees expect growth and development, and it makes people happier in their jobs, which is why this is so important. And the review then becomes the setting of goals, right, for the next financial year or the next period, which is really important. So you can see here that I have set goals, and AO and myself as his manager has set goals, and we've also set targets around that as well. We can then check in on each of the goals and targets over the time, and we can update what our progress is on that, depending on metrics set, and also track notes on what that is. Then all check-ins are logged here, and naturally when finished you can park and close them. You're then able as well to show and discuss where goals sit within this neat access, I think, right, based on effort and value. That then supports with the conversation around which goals do you want to tackle first? What are the low-hanging fruits? What are the longer-term projects that are going to take more time? Perhaps that supports with setting dates, etc. And the final feature that I just want to show you in this performance module then is 360 feedback. So we have a baked-in tool that allows an individual to go out to others in their organization and ask for feedback on them. So I've got this live, however, I could send it to other employees if I wanted to, but you can see here that I've sent out to 5 employees already, and Gunter has responded, and you can see here the gradings that he has given to AO. So a really good tool for facilitating performance conversations, and enabling that wider view outside of just the manager and reportee relationship. You know, you can bring in other stakeholders, directors, whoever it needs to be. They're in their reports.
Nice. We actually have just had a question come through from Sandra Nielsen. She's saying, this is great. Thank you, Sandra. Glad that you think that. And she's asked, just checking if this will be added to the library to share with my colleagues.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it depends what you mean by added to your library. I think I don't know what plan you're on. Obviously, this is part of our enterprise, I believe. So it depends what you have as to whether this is available to share with your colleagues. Cool. So Sandra, if that doesn't answer your question, then please loop back round and ask again. So the next piece to show you is employee performance. Now, this is a lighter touch view where we are setting goals still. I don't need to talk about this, but what I do want to show you is path to great, because I think this is a really cool lighter touch way of having a performance discussion, where against an access of performance and engagement, so the what and the how you do in your job, you can really quickly map individuals. Let's say AO is high engagement and lower on performance. We want to push him up into this green top right hand corner over here, and naturally behind this there is math. So you're then able to compare employees based on the 2 axis and report on that, and also engage employees in where they think they should be as well. So again, it becomes a discussion around how it's used. So yeah, you've got the longer form appraisal based solution with goals and 360 feedback, and then today you've got shorter form goal setting with path to great as a conversational tool around an employee's performance. Any other thoughts on that, Phil? Oh, you're muted. We can't hear you at the moment. No, still can't hear. Let's keep going. So engage. So the final part is engage, and looking at how you can help create a sense of belonging and a positive work environment to engage your employees. So let's jump back to the live demo, and here we're going to head straight to the Engage product. Now, Engage is a tool that you can use to create an organizational culture and also support the adoption of your HR solution by giving users another reason to come here. Now, this is essentially where you would add news and have a social feed where not just managers and admins can post news, but also colleagues can get involved, right? They can comment, they can like, they can share. We've got polls on the way as well, and also we've also already got GIFs, emojis, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I can hear some people already going, we would never want our employees to have access to that. That is fine. You can turn off employees' ability to post on this, meaning that it's led solely as a news-based piece to update your employees. We've also got articles. This is longer form, sort of updates, reports, news, and obviously these can be shared into the feed as well. And then the final piece that I just want to show you, what is a culture without actually face-to-face engagement with your teams, and that sort of out of work or in work in sort of engagement with your employees. So some examples are a charity-based event, and then a summer party here that you can get individuals to find all of the information on, attend, and ultimately share with peers as well, families and friends.
Have you got me back, Fraser?
I've got you back. I can hear you. Have we got any more questions?
Oh, sorry about that, everyone. Not entirely sure what happened, but I think what I love about this, right, is it really enables our colleagues in HR who fundamentally end up owning this type of system to really drive adoption and engagement. I think one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we got over the last year or so was, the tools, the functionality from a HR operational perspective were fantastic, but it become powerless when they don't have that consistent engagement and adoption of the workforce, right? And how many times can you expect them to come in if all they can do is essentially book holidays, right? But I love the performance management piece and driving the engagement of that. In fact, here at Access, we use the path to great mapping, and it does have a higher weighting on the engagement aspect, how you're showing up to work, which I think is really powerful. We did have a question that came in from Nadia Dyson saying, can the system be rebuilt to fit our own personal development form because they don't use a % weighting or scoring? So can they modify that in reflection of their own organization?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that something really important, and the reason that we have two, and actually we're currently looking at how we bring them together in a way that then allows you as an organization to really define how you want to run your performance management processes, because it is different for every organization. There's not a one size fit all approach, and it is really important that we are able to deliver that. So yeah, Nadia, there is definitely something that we can do, and I would encourage you to reach out to the teams to give some more specifics and see whether we can help.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Fraser. And I think what I also really like about the evolution of PeopleHR at this point is as it's coming out of the box now, not just with the comms piece, but also with that series of learning courses. So straight from the word go, you can start performance managing and actually directing employees into a number of courses that will be provided as part of that. Things around workplace skills, professional practices, and even some sort of compliance elements as well, which can also be expanded out by way of sort of package upgrades, etc. But yeah, it's really meaningful to be able to start with everything you need to performance manage, attract, and then start to offer up additional value add items like that to keep the objectives being completed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm conscious of the time. We've literally just ticked over to 12. It's short. Half an hour is too short almost. We probably could have ended up talking about it for another half hour. But thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time this afternoon to come and find out about what we're doing or what we have today, essentially, in the performance space, and hopefully get a little hint in terms of that, bringing it together and creating a master performance module on where we're going in the future. You've got a QR on your screen now, which will support you in requesting more information or booking a demo, if that is what you would like to do. Anything else from you, Phil, at all? Oh, you've gone again. I'm wondering whether it's me. I don't know. Anyway, let's wrap it up at that. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great afternoon. See you again soon. Bye.